I want to share a message today and talk to you for a few minutes about this idea about pulling the weeds. I want to talk for a few minutes about pulling the weeds. So I'm going to look at your neighbor and say, man, we got some work to do. All right, go look at your neighbor, grab your husband, we got some work to do. It's like my dad waking me up on Saturday morning saying, hey, son, it's time to get to work. We got to go outside. We got to pull some weeds. We got to rake some leaves. We got to do all the things, all the work that you don't want to do. That's what I would usually do on Saturdays. And today, I kind of want to just talk for a few minutes about this idea that our soul is similar to maybe a garden. That our soul is similar to a place, a lawn, or a place that you might tend to. And that sometimes, if we're honest, we get weeds in our soul. Sometimes, if we're honest, we allow things to start uproot in our life that we really don't want in our life and really isn't exciting for our life and actually causes damage in our life. And if we're just honest today, who here knows that sometimes we get some weeds in our heart? We get weeds in our soul. We get weeds that start to grow in our life that we have to look at and say, man, I want to start working out the things that are going on in my heart and my soul. And so I've been praying this week and just thinking of a few things that I think would be helpful for you and I to look at our hearts, to look at our soul, and to look and say, hey, what are some things that might be growing in our heart, that might be growing in the way that we see people, that might be growing in the way that we treat people, that actually God wants to go ahead and start pulling out of our life. Similar to what I said last week, the thing about weeds is they like to come and spread. When one pops up, soon enough, there will be another and another and another. And if you've ever gardened before, if you've ever been a farmer, if you've ever worked on land, if you've ever done something like this, here's what I know is true. Making sure weeds are out of your garden, making sure weeds are out of your yard takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to make sure you're looking after them, spraying them, pulling them, doing all the things. And then when they come back again next fall or next spring, you have to do it all over again. And I think the same is true in our spiritual lives, that we have to reevaluate again and again and again our heart, our soul, our life, and say, what are the things that are growing in our heart that maybe God is not happy with? Maybe that God would rather us pull, or rather us start to work on. So today, I want to just share 3 thoughts that I think are maybe a few weeds that each person deals with. And obviously, these are not the only weeds that can grow in our soul. These are not the only weeds that can grow in our heart. I could spend a long time talking about probably 100 different things that can go on in a person's life that you have to address and look at and think about your life. But I was just thinking about most people's life, our culture, where we're in, the state of the affairs in our city and in our lives. And I think these are 3 things that really become prominent to me. So let's just dive into the first one. The first weed that I think every person needs to look at is the weed of comparison. The weed of comparison. I don't know about you, but this right here might be the strongest and deepest weed in our culture today. When we live in a culture filled with comparison, we live in a time where it is so easy to compare our lives with others. That we are constantly looking at our phones, at our tablets, at our laptops, and seeing everyone's lives, or at least all of the highlights of their life. We don't know the true things that are going on in their marriage. We just see the nice vacation. We don't know what's really going on with their kids, but we see the cute picture at the soccer game, but we don't know how hard it was to get to said soccer game, right? We see all the things that are glamorous about someone's life or the highlights of someone's life, but little do we know we really aren't connected or really know what's actually happening in that person's life. We live in a time where we are filled with information. Filled with more information than we can probably withhold. I mean, ChatGPT, all the things, you just know everything at the palm of your hand. And yet we are more disconnected. We have more surface level relationships than we've ever had before. We're not truly connected. We're not truly getting to know people in their life. We really don't know the things that are happening in the people's lives around us. We just see the highlights. And it reminded me of this week. I'm old enough where I remember growing up when I was watching sports. I'm a big sports guy. I love sports, so I might miss some of you on this analogy. But I remember growing up and seeing something on SportsCenter called Top 10 Plays. Anybody know some Top 10 Plays? You know what I'm talking about? And I remember you'd have to wait till Friday, and they would have the top 10 plays of the week, and they would have this whole thing, and you'd go and you wake up early to watch the top 10 plays. And before I went to school, I remember watching, waiting for the top 10 plays of the week. But that was an exciting moment for me as a kid growing up. But nowadays, that's not even relative, because you just turn on the phone and you get 20 sports clips within 10 seconds. I mean, you just scroll through and you're like, man, I got the top 100 plays in a few minutes, right? And it just goes to show that we used to have to wait for highlights, but now we see everyone's highlight reel. And that's kind of the thing I'm getting at is we see people's little highlights and the moments of their lives and what's going on that seems special to them. And it leads us to a place where it's very easy to compare our lives with everyone else. Compare our lives with the things that other people have. Compare the things that people might want. And so just a few thoughts on some things that I think we all compare. One, obviously we compare our stuff. Who has the newest thing, the newest toy, the newest car, the coolest boat or house? We compare the material things that we have. We compare our stuff. We compare our money. Looking at other people's lives and wondering how did they afford that? How did they get this? And how were they able to buy that truck? How were they able to buy this thing? Which, funny enough, a lot of times what we don't realize is you have no idea if they actually have money for it or if they just got approved for it, right? And who here knows there's a big difference between having the money for something and a loaner just saying, yeah, we'll take that on a 15% interest rate, right? But we compare our money. We might compare our cars or the things that we drive or the toys that we get or the things that we look at. We might compare our vacations, looking at other people's Instagram posts, being like, how did they get there? How did they show up? Well, they've been to 2 trips this year. How were they able to do 2 trips? And then we might compare ourselves and wondering, how are people going on vacation? How are they able to do this? How are they able to do that? Am I getting too real for anyone this morning? Maybe we might compare our marriages. We might look at, oh, come on and I'll preach it. We might look at some other life and some other person and say man, how did they get that person? That person's too good looking for them. How are they able to accomplish such a thing? Maybe we look at other marriages and say man, they seem way happier than us. And they're way more in love than we are. Man, we look at other people's lives and yet we don't know the fights they're in. We don't know the discussions that are happening. We have no idea if they're faking it till they make it. And we look at an Instagram post or a Facebook post and we think, oh man, their marriage must be perfect. So we might compare marriages. We might compare jobs, our career path. Sometimes we look at our life and we say, well, why am I not further ahead? Why did I not get this promotion? Why did I not get to this place? Why does this person have that title? Why does this person have that job, but I don't? And so we begin to compare and ask these questions of looking at our lives. And all of a sudden, whether it's business or maybe our kids, come on, somebody. We compare our kids, and who here knows your kids are always the best, right? Everyone else's kids are bad, but your kids are good, right? Compared to everyone else. Or maybe you look at your kids and think the opposite, and you're disappointed in them, and you're frustrated with them, and you're looking at their life because now they're a little bit older, and they're making their own decisions, and you're frustrated with some of their decisions, and you're now comparing them to others. And we compare a lot of things in our life, and here's what I know about comparison. It is the thief of all joy and contentment. Comparison will steal all of our joy. It will steal all of our contentment. It will steal the very gratitude that we have in our hearts for the things that God has given us. So let's look at what the Bible says about this idea of comparison. James 3:16 says this, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder in every evil practice." Man, somehow, some way, envy starts leading us not just to a place of envy, but to other evil things. All of a sudden, envy can become jealousy, and jealousy can become us talking bad about somebody, and talking bad about someone can us actually doing something bad to somebody just so we can get even, or just because we want to try to like work our way and show that person a point. And all of a sudden, envy can begin to start doing more and more dark things in our soul. And the root of envy gets deeper and deeper. Proverbs chapter 14 says this: a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Man, envy begins to rot our souls. It begins to rot our heart, because here's what comparing everything in everyone else's life does to us. It begins to start allowing us to stop seeing all the blessings that God has already given us. We start focusing on everyone else's lawn. We start focusing on everyone else's life. We start focusing on what everyone else has, that we miss the very gift that God has given us. We miss the gift of our husband. We miss the gift of our wife. We miss the gift of our kids. We miss the gift of our job. We miss the gift of just having breath in our lungs. We miss out on the gift that God has blessed us with so many things. And we start comparing our lives to everyone else, and envy begins to rot our souls. We begin to believe this lie that my life is not good enough. Or, even worse, we start believing this lie: I am not enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough stuff. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough, reputation. I don't have enough. And we start believing this lie that it's you. So how do we fight this battle of comparison? How do we fight envy? How do we fight this tension? Because I don't know about you, but like, it's around us at every second, everywhere we go. It's so easy to compare our lives. So first thing I would tell you is this: we must fight envy with gratitude. We must fight envy with gratitude. We must position our hearts in thankfulness. The Bible talks about coming into God's presence with thankfulness, coming to God with gratitude in our hearts. And here's what gratitude begins to do. It begins to allow us to stop focusing on what everyone else has and starts allowing us to focus on all the gifts that God has already given us. Paul says something in his life. He talks about that famous verse in Philippians chapter 4. He says, man, and through Christ I can do everything. But the verse before that, it talks about how he has found his life to be content in everything he has. He talks about how, hey, I've been poor, I've been rich, I've been beaten, I've been flogged, I've gone through the ups and through the downs. I know what it's like to be on the mountaintop, and I know what it's like to be in the valley. And here's what he's saying: at the core of it all, the greatest thing to have in this Christian life is to have contentment. That I'm good. I have everything I need in Christ. I have everything I need in God. I have everything I need because God is with me. God has blessed me. God provides for me. God knows my needs. God knows my wants. And his timeline is always better than mine. And so Paul gets us to this point that we have to walk into a life of gratitude. Gratitude fights off bitterness. Gratitude fights off comparison. When we speak life over the things that we have, then all of a sudden we get to see the blessings start to come more and more. And what I mean by that is kind of the same old saying that like the grass is not always greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. And let me just tell you, church, here's how you water the things that you have. It's not real water, it's words. How you speak about your life, how you speak about your family, how you speak about your church, how you speak about your husband, about your wife, how you speak about the blessings you have. That is the water going into the soil that is going to reap a better yard. That's going to reap a better harvest. If you want your marriage to be better, speak life about your marriage. If you want your kids to be better, speak life over your kids. If you want your situations in life to start to look better, man, speak life about these things. And here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying if you say things will automatically change. But what will change is your perspective. I'm not saying here, you don't hear me right. I'm not saying, if you just say this and then something will happen. Man, that is just not true. I wish it was that easy. Man, that would be so good, right? Man, when a gospel is preached like that, we just say a few things, pray a few prayers, and everything gets fixed. Man, that would be nice. The truth is God's usually trying to fix you. God's trying to fix your perspective. God's trying to fix how you view things. Not how the other person views things, not about how your husband views things, not about how your wife views things, not about how, your boss views things. He's trying to get at how you see the world around you. This is the perspective that God's trying to get you. And that's my second thought of how do we fight against comparison? Protect your perspective. You need to protect the perspective that God has for you. What do I mean by that? Get offline every now and then. Get off social media every now and then. Take a break. Take a moment to say, I do not need Instagram right now. I do not need Facebook. I do not need TikTok. I need to take a break from seeing everyone else's life and all the good things and all the stuff. Or maybe this, I need to unfollow some people. Because every time I see their posts, every time I see their stuff, envy begins to start in my heart. And it's not a them problem, it's a me problem. So, they might get hurt or whatever, but I got to unfollow. Or there's a new way you can do this. You can put the unmute. Anybody get the mute thing on social media now? You can just mute people. Be like, yep, I'm not going to see your stuff anymore, at least for a few weeks. I'm good, right? And so some of you, man, maybe the thought is this. You need to unmute. You need to disconnect. You need to unfollow. You need to maybe take a break from the things that are going on social media. Take a moment to disconnect from the things that you're seeing in the world that are causing envy in your life. The second weed that I think we all need to work on today is this, the weed of offense, right? The weed of offense. Trust me, they only get better, I promise, as we go down the list. The weed of offense. Man, I don't know about you, but we live in a time where it feels like everyone is offended about everything. Man, you can't say a joke. You can't say anything around. You can't be messing around with people anymore. Anything can be offensive. In our task, in our hunger to try to be more politically correct, to be more polite, to be more kind, we have gone into such an extreme that now every joke or every little thing can be considered abuse, can be considered pain, or that we get to a point where everything can be offensive. So today, if you are offended that I am bringing up offense, then this point is for you. That we have to battle this idea of that everything offends us. That we live in this tension, right? And I would say there's kind of two offenses that we deal with on the normal, regular basis. There's the public offense, right? Which is what I'm saying, that the fight to be more polite, or more politically correct, to be more accepting. Many people have gone so far these days that every word, every joke, every disagreement leads to offense or you being viewed as hating someone just because you disagree with them. So this is the public offense that we get nowadays, where you can't even disagree, you can't even have conversations, and if you do disagree, then you are some sort of bad person, or whatever title they want to give you at this point. And now there's this idea you can't even say anything without hurting someone's feelings. But then who here knows there's also what I would call the family offense, the people who are closest to you. Right? I mean, anyone that's been married more than 3 weeks, you would be like, yeah, I know what it's like to be offended. I know what it's like to deal with offense. I know what it's like where that person just breathing weird offends me. That person, how they eat offends me. There's normal things that happen on a normal day-to-day. You're like, I am offended that you are just in this room today, right? Because sometimes it's the people closest to us that we get so comfortable with that sometimes we say things we didn't fully mean. Or maybe we're a little too honest in a moment we maybe shouldn't have been so honest. Or maybe there's this comfort level with family and friends and people in our lives that sometimes it leads to real offense, right? And we can get to these places where we have to struggle with these offenses that come in and out. So offense is so common. It's become, I think it's one of the reasons it's very common now is because being a victim is so popular nowadays. That if I can just, I can feel good about feeling a victim because then everyone else is wrong and I'm always right. right? Or maybe you're the person who cries for justice or cries for something to be more fair. However, you have done nothing to actually help justice or fairness. But it's much easier just to cry for those things or to sound like you're sounding the alarm because it makes you look like a hero. But really, who here knows, many people aren't actually doing things to bring justice or help to certain situations. I think we just live in a time where it's easier to just live offended, for everyone else to be wrong, everyone else to have issues, and not really look at our own lives and say, what am I doing wrong? What are the things I need to work on? What are the things I've been saying that I should stop saying? What are the things I've been doing that I should stop doing? What are the things that are happening in my workplace, in my marriage, in my family, and all the things that are happening in my life that it's actually me that needs to change? It's actually me that needs the correction. Here's what Proverbs 19:11 says, a person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. It's to your benefit to overlook offenses. James 1:19 says this, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires for our lives. I think we oftentimes have to look at our lives and say, man, am I so easily offended by everything? Or maybe it's not that I'm offended by everything, but I'm offended by one person or one thing. I mean, who here knows this? If you're offended by everything that's going on and everything that's being said, and if everything annoys you, or everything ticks you off, then usually who here knows it's actually one thing or one person that's actually the problem. Right? You're not really mad at everyone. You're not really mad at every situation. You're not really upset at everyone in your family, hopefully, right? Like usually it's one person or one situation or one subject that really has your heart, that really has you upset, that really has a grip on you, right? And so oftentimes we allow one thing to ruin everything else. We allow one injustice to ruin everything else. We allow one moment of church hurt to look into how we look at church, and now we look at every church bad. We get one encounter that didn't go well, and now we think every person's like that. And I'm going to just encourage you today, man, we have to get to a place where we stop saying things like that. That we stop believing these lies. Well, every church is this way. Every pastor is this way. Every person in authority is this way. Every person that has a little bit of power, they're always like this. Every teacher is that way. Every boss is that way. No. You may have had a bad experience. You may have had a bad person. You may have gotten someone on their worst day, but that doesn't mean everything is bad. That doesn't mean everyone is corrupt. That doesn't mean everything is going to be bad for your life. So today, I think we just have to look at our lives and ask the question, are we really mad at everything, or is there just one or two things that are going on in our life that we haven't addressed, that we actually need to look at? You know, one thing offense does is it begins to build a fence. I wish I had some picket fences. I thought about bringing them, but it begins to build a fence around your life. That if you're always offended by something, here's what you're going to see. People start distancing themselves from you more and more. Because they can't even have a conversation with you. They can't even joke around with you. If they're having to walk on eggshells, if you're coming through and I'm not sure if I can make a joke. I'm not sure if I can have a disagreement. I'm not sure if I can just, have an opinion without it being an issue. Then don't be surprised when people start kind of distancing themselves because you have built a fence around your soul. I just want to encourage us today. We need to be a people. Christians should be the best at allowing offense to go right over us. We need to get good at saying, you know what? I'm not offended by every little joke. I'm not offended by every little thing. I'm not offended even at the person who actually meant to say something mean to me. I'm just going to allow some of that to roll off of me. I'm not going to allow this person to get the best of me. I'm not going to allow my boss to get the best of me. I'm not going to allow this situation to get the best of me, because sometimes we have to allow ourselves to say, you know what? I'm going to have thick skin and a soft heart. I think every Christian needs to learn this skill, to have thick skin and a soft heart. Let me just talk to you, for some of you that feel called to ministry, that you feel like, hey, I want to, be a pastor someday. I want to lead in ministry one day. I want to be a small group leader someday, or whatever it might be. Can we just tell you, if you want to actually be successful in ministry, live out ministry, walk out in ministry, you're going to need some thick skin and a soft heart. You're going to need it because people might throw arrows at you. People might say things about you. People might have conversations about you, but yet you are still called to love them, care for them, lead them. If any of you want to be a great leader in your life, a business leader, a leader of your house, a leader of your home, any type of leadership requires thick skin and a soft heart. A second thing I would maybe tell you this is address issues quickly. Man, I can't talk today. Address issues quickly. Talk about what's happening in your life soon. Don't wait days on end. Don't play he should know why I'm upset. Don't play she should know while I'm angry. Don't play these games where we're trying to do like mind reading tricks with everyone. Go and have a conversation about what's actually bothering you. Go and say, hey, this is actually happening in my life. Hey, I'm actually offended. Hey, this is actually going on. And I just need to talk about it. I want to submit this to you. The Bible tells us in Matthew 18 to go and address issues with one another. Go have the hard conversation. I know it's not easy. I know it's not fun. But man, there's so much freedom when you can go and say, hey, like that, what you said actually offended me. What you said actually hurt me. Hey, what you said was a problem for me. How can we expect people to read our minds, to know what's going on in our lives? So go and have the adult conversation. Talk to them. Talk to the person that you are in conflict with. Have the conversations. Address it quickly. Don't wait. Don't take 3 days to figure out if you need to bring it up. If it's bothering you right now, bring it up with grace and with love. How about this? Choose relationship over being right. I think this is where we'll land this plane. A lot of times, we as humans so badly want to be right. We so badly want the other person to know that we're in conflict with, that their way was wrong and we are right and they are wrong, and we want our point to be made. And can I just tell you, you can live that life. You can absolutely choose to fight every battle and to be right about every little thing, but you will burn relationship after relationship after relationship if life is only about being right. At some point, we have to get to the place where we say, you know what? I don't even care if I'm right or wrong about this, but I love this person so much, I care about this person so much that I'll just take the hit and be wrong. It doesn't matter because I want to choose relationship over being right. And nowadays, we're in a time where there's a lot of young adults. There's a lot of children that are being raised where there's this kind of new term, this new trend of like disconnecting from your family and going silent with your family because of disagreements and issues that have gone on. And let me just take a second. One, I want to say that some people in some situations, there is real hurt and real things that have gone on that has allowed you to disconnect from your family. And I'm not trying to minimize that. However, there are also situations that are going on in people's lives where they're allowing very little arguments to tear apart families and not allow people to talk to each other because of these little disagreements that you have with one another. And can I just tell you, as much as we talk about spiritual family here, as much as we believe that God needs spiritual family, you and I need spiritual family, can I just also like push you as your pastor to say like the family you have today, the family that God has given you is also very important. And you should fight as hard as you can to make the relationships the best that you can. I'm not saying you can fix every issue. I'm not saying you can control other people. Some people might cut you off and there's nothing you can do about it, right? There's some situations where the ball is not in your court. You cannot make the changes. You cannot change what the other person is thinking or saying or doing. But some of us know there's sometimes where it's our decision to decide how we're going to approach this person. Are we going to allow this person back in? Are we going to allow them to come in our hearts? Are we going to allow them, or are we just going to allow offense to build a bigger bridge between our family, our people that we love, the people that God's put around us? I would just encourage many of you today to choose the relationship over being right. Point 3, last one as we share today, the weed of unforgiveness. The weed of unforgiveness. Man, as I was writing all of these this week, I also was just challenged by each one of these. Just so you know, this isn't just for you. This is for me too. I have to look at my life and say, man, is comparison taken over? I have to look at my life and ask myself, like, am I allowing offense? Am I offended by every little thing? Am I offended anytime someone tries to challenge my leadership or tries to challenge me in what I'm doing? Am I offended by everything that's going on? And am I also allowing unforgiveness to really begin to crowd my soul and my heart? I think all of us at moments deal with the weed of unforgiveness. And if I'm honest with you, the weed of unforgiveness might be the most damaging of them at all. Because unforgiveness might start with a little thing or a little issue or a little situation we've had. But unforgiveness gets deep roots very quickly. For some of you, it's even more than others. Some of you lean to being bitter. You lean to being angry. You lean to some of that. So if you know yourself well, you know that sometimes unforgiveness goes even deeper, faster. And so this weed of unforgiveness, man, it doesn't have shallow roots. It goes down deep. And if you know anything about weeds, the deeper the root, the harder it is to pull it out. The harder it is to get it out of our hearts and out of our souls. And so today, as we talk about these different things, there's lots of different weeds that we might need to pull. I don't want to leave them just here. There's only a few we could talk about today, but who here knows there's other things, whether it's pride in our life, the weed of pride, the weed of lust, the weed of addictions. Man, there's different weeds that we can allow to start getting in our souls. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is be quick to look at your heart. As a Christian, when you start acting like your old self, that is like the check engine light, like bell signs, red flags. I'm going back to the old ways. It's a reminder, like, man, God's trying to do something in your heart. And sometimes when we allow ourselves to kind of go back into the old ways, it's just our flesh coming back after us. The old way of us trying to live our life, the old way we used to handle things, the old way we used to talk about things, the old way we used to handle our lives. And we have to look at our lives and say, no. I noticed that's what I used to do. I noticed that's how I used to talk. I noticed that I'm working on this issue. And when those little weeds come up, man, we have to pull them quick, which means we might need to apologize quick. We might need to go to that person or that family member or that wife or husband, just say, hey, I know I'm working on it. And let me just give the other side of that coin. If you're the person that is being offended, there's true offense, man, allow God to work on that other person. Sometimes we're knocking on the door and we're trying to get this person to see our way. Like, man, if I could just tell them these things, they would know, right? Then they would get it. And here's what I've just come to realize. God is already talking to the people that I have conflict with way before I can say what I need to say. And usually, when God gets to them first, He handles most of it. He handles the thing. And so today, I think it's just a reminder that we need to be praying for the person that we're dealing with unforgiveness with. We need to be praying for the person that we want them to see it our way. The question is, have you gone on your knees to pray for that person this week? Have you taken time to pray for their hearts, pray for their souls, pray for them to see their ways, right? But the truth is that unforgiveness happens all the time because we all are human. We all got human relationships and family and drama and things in our life. Like, if we went around every person in this room and talked about all the things that are going on in your life, you would probably have some things where you're saying, yeah, Pastor, I got some unforgiveness. I got some people who have really hurt me. I've had some people that have really challenged me. I got some people that have done me wrong. Let me just tell you why it's important that we forgive. It's important that we forgive because forgiveness is one of those things where it frees both people. It frees that other person of the wrongdoing they've done. Not saying that it okays it, not saying that whatever they did was all right. That's not what I'm saying. But you let go of the offense. You let go of what you're holding against them. And then it frees you from the bitterness and anger that you've been holding on to. Forgiveness is one of those things where both people, when you forgive, get freed. Both people receive freedom. You are freed from this anger and this bitterness that you've been holding on to, and then you are choosing to let go of what that person's done to you. And here's the trick to forgiveness. You actually have to let go. Like, you can't bring it back up. You can't be like, oh, well, a few years ago, a few and a few weeks ago, you said this. Well, no, I already forgave you of that. Actually, wrong of me for to bring it up because I let it go. It's not forgiveness if you've not let it go. You're still holding on to it. You're still mad about it. You're still bitter. You've not truly forgiven. It's forgiveness when you say, no, I'm not holding that against you anymore. It's over. It's done. And here's why we do this. The Bible gives us some good insight. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12 says this, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you have a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord has forgiven you. Ephesians chapter 4 tells us a similar story. It says this, get rid of all bitterness, rage and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other just as Christ God has forgiven you. Why do we forgive? Because you've been forgiven. We forgive because Christ has forgiven us of all of our sins and all of the things that we've done. All of us have offended God. All of us have done something against God. There's not one person in this room today, including me, that has not done wrong to God, and yet God forgave us. God had mercy on us. God gave us grace when we did not deserve grace. God gave us kindness when we did not deserve kindness. God set the example of how we should treat each other. And because of that, we should forgive one another. The truth is, at any point in life, you are either the person who has hurt someone or you are the person who's been hurt. That's life. You're one of those two. At one point or another, you're the person who's hurt or you're the person who's doing the hurting. And I think we so often want to just view ourselves as the person who's only been hurt. But I think what would help us most is if we have the right perspective of, God, I know I've done some hurting. I know I've said things that I did not mean. I know I've done things I did not want to do. I know I've made mistakes that I wish I could take back. And so with that heart, I'm going to receive everyone else that comes through with that same lens and that same heart. I want to be able to give them grace because you've given me grace. I want to be kind because you've been kind, because I know I've hurt people. So as we close today, I want to share one last story with you. I remember when I was in middle school, there was a girl who was part of our middle school, and she was, there's no way to say that. She was just a little bit different than every the other kids around. She was from a different part of the world. She had a different culture. And I remember being in middle school, a lot of people in my circle knew that I loved God. I was very proud of my faith in middle school. I don't know why, I just was. And, I had like a little cross necklace, had all this stuff. Like, you knew I was a Christian. I was part of the youth group, baby. Like, you knew it. I had the youth group t-shirt, everything. And I would go around, but this particular girl, man, I would join in on making fun of her all the time. Actually, if I'm honest, I was the leader of making fun of this girl. Like, I went out of my way on certain days to be like, man, I'm going to get her. I got some jokes already set up. I got some things to say. I got some new content to give. You know what I mean? I want to make sure everyone was able to hear it. I wanted to make sure everyone could see like the joke I made, the offense I made. You know, I'm going to make fun of her. And I did this for probably like 2 years. I'm going to be honest with you. Like 2 years, this girl, and she was very kind. Like, kept coming, like being around us, and like, just kept being in our lives, and I would just be consistent in making fun of her. And I remember one day, it was another girl who probably wasn't really a Christian, but she knew I was a Christian. And she, you know, we had this whole moment. I just made fun of this girl, and then she came up to me in the middle of class in front of everybody and was like, aren't you a Christian? Don't you love God? Why do you treat her like that? I was like, oh, hold up. I cannot believe you're telling me this, like, in front of everybody, right? And she just calls me out, like, straight up, just like, why are you acting like this? And man, I mean, the amount of guilt and shame I felt, and I look back on that moment. Years went by. I didn't apologize. I didn't talk to that girl. I didn't make her right. I think I just kind of stopped making fun of her. You know what I mean? I felt bad enough to be like, oh, I should stop doing this, but not like, oh, I should go and talk to her. So just years went by, years and years and years. And then one year, I'm in my last year of college, and I'm walking around the campus, which I normally didn't do, and I see this girl. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I mean, the weight of God came over me and said, you got to go talk to her. You got to go make it right. And so thankfully, God gave me an opportunity to go and have the adult conversation. And she handled it with so much grace and so much kindness. She forgave me. But I think it was just one of those moments where, like, we have to look at our lives and think, man, we've done harm to people. We have messed up. We have said some things. And if you have an opportunity to make it right, if you have an opportunity to go and apologize, man, take it. Take the moment. Like, today, some of you need to leave this room, and the next step is you need to make a phone call. The next step is you need to set up a lunch. The next step is you need to, like, build up the courage to text that person. And you need to take the step. If you're a Christ follower today, you need to take the step to pull the weed of unforgiveness out of your heart, to not allow bitterness to stay stuck in you, so that you in that person can find healing. Amen? Let's pray. God, thank you for your word. Thank you that you are good to us. Lord, I pray that you would help us with the weeds of life, the things that we have going on in our world, whether it's comparison, God, whether it's looking at other people's lives and wanting what they have and wanting the things that they you know, the marriages or the relationships or the money or the finances. God, help our heart not live envious. Help us with comparison. Help us not look at everything else in every person's life and say, oh, I want that. God, would you give us the heart of gratitude today as we leave this place? God, Lord, I pray for those that might walk in this place and there's unforgiveness in your heart. Lord, I pray that every person would let go of the grievance they have. Let go of the offense. Let go of the anger. Let go of the pride of being right and making a stand, God, so that we can be in relationship with one another, so that we can grow closer to one another. God, help us on this journey. Help us look at our souls today and pull out the weeds that you're calling us to pull. In Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen.